So can we be fully present to whatever is happening in our lives, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent? What I want to do was record this video around the whole area of problems and how, by being in the moment and just allowing ourselves to surrender to whatever occurs, that we can find solutions to quite possibly the most impossible of problems. And simply all it requires is for us to stop and to just fully experience whatever's happening. What we tend to do when we have problems is we tend to go into this whole fight and flight syndrome, or we tend to want to control and resolve the issue as quickly as possible because of the amount of pain being experienced. What we find is when we're trying to control the issue and we're experiencing pain as well at the same time, that we're not really fully present to the pain and we're not really fully present to the control. And it leaves us in this kind of no man's land where we're not really in control and we're not really seeing the wood for the trees. And if we can stop and just allow ourselves to just be, what we may find is that whatever emotion comes up, if we can allow ourselves to fully experience that or witness that, whatever the moment requires, that we may find that we build some breathing space into the conversation, into the problem, and that allows us to explore possible solutions. It allows us to see the problem from much more patient and fresher eyes, as opposed to this panic mode that's set in, which we've, let's be honest, been conditioned that whenever we have problems we just fly off the handle. If we could slow down, we may find that it builds patience, and in that patience solutions could present themselves. And the beauty of that is that we then start seeing that the problem isn't as bad as we thought it was. And what we can do as we deepen in that patience is open up dialogue, open up communication, and really look to see what is actually at the root of the problem. And if there is another party involved, to actually be able to see their viewpoint as well, and to actually then be able to engage in a conversation, to be able to resolve whatever it is that ails us. Now, this is something that can be applied in pretty much anything, especially within our spiritual endeavor. And what we may find is that the problem that we may have of trying to wake up, or believing that this awakening is impossible, or that relationship issue we may have, or that financial issue we may have, or whatever it is that is causing this problem, by stopping and by being patient and by really just allowing ourselves to feel whatever happens, to be accepting of that, to let go of this idea of control, we may find that we build breathing space. We build an ability to really become bigger than the problem. In other words, we're able then to actually be able to take that problem and actually resolve that, but by allowing ourselves to really feel. I think sometimes what can happen is when there's a problem, there's so much emotional pain that what we're looking to do is we're looking to do anything to avoid that, and that takes us down this whole route of the shorter term, and the shorter term solutions invariably end up taking longer and longer than they need to, because it's just avoidance. Whereas if we sit there, what we may find is that just by being fully present, we may find that problem isn't as bad as we thought it was. So by being present, regardless of whatever's happening, and allowing ourselves to feel, however difficult it may feel, whatever emotion is actually coming up, we may find that once we've gone through that cycle, once we've felt those emotions that we're so terrified of, we may feel that they aren't as bad as we thought they were. Going back to that Seneca quote of we suffer more in imagination than in reality, we then may see that the problem isn't as bad as we think it is. And it allows us then to look for solutions. It allows us then to really dig into what's actually happened, and it allows us to really just resolve as quickly as possible and as efficiently as possible. However, when we try to bring the mind into it, when we try to bring our conditioned responses into it, what we may find is a problem that could be easily resolved just takes longer and longer and longer, because we have this fight and flight syndrome, which when it comes to problems, what we find is that we want to turn away, and we just compound the pain, rather than just feeling that pain or feeling that emotion here and now. We drag it out, we look to avoid it, and what can happen is it then just festers. It then just festers, and in our imagination it becomes worse than it actually is, which then takes us the other way of meaning that there really are no solutions anymore, as far as we're concerned, and it's completely and utterly, useless. Whereas if we were to just stop and just be present, and whatever came up, to really, even to use inquiry in that as well, to say, well, why is this coming up? We may find that solutions start presenting themselves. We may find that we're not as lost in this situation as we feel ourselves to be. And what that may then do is to just provide us with so many solutions, but also shows that we're more than this problem, and that we're more than this limited story and idea of us. It deepens our patience, it deepens our accepting, it deepens our trusting. And what you will find is, in that expansiveness, we find that there's very little, if any, problems in our lives, and we just live from this place of complete and utter total equanimity.